eventually one of those things is going to come true. And
The Simpsons has predicted everything that's going to be happening in 2025.
Firefighters race to contain wildfires around Los Angeles for a third night.
Consuming vast landscapes and causing widespread devastation.
Okay, so perhaps we will start seeing hologram weddings and metaverse ceremonies in the coming...
For over 3 decades, The Simpsons has entertained audiences with its sharp wit, social commentary, and satirical portrayal of modern life. Yet, beyond the humor, the show has gained an eerie reputation for predicting real-world events. Some of these predictions are so specific and startling that they leave us wondering if The Simpsons writers know something we don't. So here are the 2025 Simpson predictions to prepare us for what is to come. The Simpsons once depicted a fully automated factory where robots replaced all human workers. What once seemed like science fiction is quickly becoming a reality. Companies like Amazon, Tesla, and even McDonald's are integrating automation to replace human labor in packaging, manufacturing, and food service.
Ah! Comic-Con nerds! You fool! These are robots. You will train them, and they will replace you.
Before now, robots could only replace part of a human job, enough to make coffee or an omelet. But this is Digit, a robot its makers say is ready to do what human warehouse workers do.
They can lift about 35 pounds. You know, the robot weighs about what a person would weigh. It can reach about the size of what a person can reach. You know, we're really going for that kind of like OSHA regulations and requirements for the robot.
Agility Robotics is funded in part by Amazon, which is investing $1 billion in new industrial technologies. Amazon has already started testing Digit in its Seattle Robotics Research and Development Facility, potentially adding to the company's fleet of more than 750,000 robots. And the company's investors have big ambitions for them.
The fact that it can enter places that were designed for humans and solve those challenges that exist without having to rebuild the environment for automation.
And it doesn't quit.
And it doesn't quit.
They're about $250,000, so they're not inexpensive. But, you know, over just a few years, they're worth it.
A 2020 report by the World Economic Forum projected that by 2025, 85 million jobs could be automated, while 97 million new tech-driven roles could emerge. The shift toward automation is accelerating, making this prediction from The Simpsons closer to reality than ever before.
According to World Economic Forum, 85 million jobs will be replaced by AI by 2025. And on top of that, PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, said an estimated 30% of all jobs will be replaced by AI in mid-30s. Goldman Sachs said 300 million jobs are going to be replaced. But a data came out, which is very crazy, breaking down who does AI hurt the most, men or women? Whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians. Those with a high school diploma, those with bachelors, those with masters. And then what jobs are going to be replaced? What jobs are going to be protected? And then what new skill sets are on the rise?
AI doesn't have to be evil to destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill.
In another unsettling episode, Springfield suffers a massive blackout caused by an energy crisis. This scenario is becoming increasingly plausible as climate change, population growth, and rising energy demands put immense pressure on global power grids. Recent blackouts in places like Texas due to extreme weather have already exposed vulnerabilities. Could The Simpsons have been warning us of a larger global energy collapse in 2025?
In another episode, Springfield faces a widespread blackout caused by an energy crisis. The characters must adapt to a new reality, living with minimal power. Interestingly, this idea isn't so far-fetched. Many analysts warn that with the growing demand for renewable energy and climate change, some regions might face serious challenges in keeping their power grid stable. In places like Texas, USA, massive blackouts have already occurred due to demand spikes and extreme weather events. Could The Simpsons be warning us of something bigger? What would we do if the entire world experienced an energy collapse in 2025? Prediction 3. Instant translation technology. In the episode where Homer visits Japan, they show advanced technologies that facilitate communication. Although the show doesn't directly feature an instant translator, the idea of breaking language barriers with technology is becoming more of a reality. Today, we already have earbuds like Pixel Buds.
What if your next charge was your last? The clock is ticking. British Columbia is on the brink of an energy crisis. With the surge in electric vehicle usage, our power grid is strained like never before. EEs were meant to save the planet, but are they draining our lifeline? BC's clean energy sources are struggling to keep up. Wind, solar, and hydro, they're not enough. Worse still, power consumption is skyrocketing. In just a few years, demand could outstrip supply. Picture this: blackouts, uncharged EVs, and a province in the dark. We need action, and we need it now. Investing in sustainable energy infrastructure isn't just a good idea, it's a necessity. The future of BC hangs in the balance. Will you stand by or will you stand up? The choice is ours, but the time is short. Will BC run out of power? The scary truth is, it just might.
In the episode where Homer travels to Japan, futuristic technology is depicted that aids communication. While this was meant as a joke, today's technology is catching up. Real-time translation devices like Google's Pixel Buds and apps like Google Translate have made language barriers less significant.
In the episode where Homer visits Japan, they show advanced technologies that facilitate communication. Although the show doesn't directly feature an instant translator, the idea of breaking language barriers with technology is becoming more of a reality.
Why did we pick this translator? A few reasons. With a click of one button, it can translate 82 different languages, and it claims to translate conversations, not just statements.
I set the languages. I'm setting the input language to English UK and the output language to Spanish Spain.
It has noise-canceling microphones and speakers, so speak in one language and out comes another.
We have a microphone on this side, a speaker, and a microphone on this side, so presumably you can use it like this to talk.
It's smaller than a smartphone, but it still has a touchscreen, and it comes with 2 years of cellular data, so those traveling don't need to worry about an international data plan.
This feels like a very comfortable thing to have in my pocket, very easy to whip out whenever I need it, and it's extremely light actually. I barely feel like I've got a device in my hand at all.
It also has a camera for translating signs and menus. It costs $299, but is it worth it?
Experts believe that by 2025, technology could enable near-perfect, real-time language translation, completely transforming global communication and travel.
First up, we're going to try for a simple, typical tourist interaction. Could I have a coffee with soy milk, please?
¿Podría tomar un café con leche de soja, por favor?
Ahora mismo.
Un momentito.
Ahora mismo.
Okay, so the first interaction seemed to go quite well. She didn't seem to react weirdly to me speaking to her through a live translation machine. And when she brought my coffee, she brought soy milk, so that passed the test as well.
I would like you to function as a translator. I have a friend here who only speaks Italian, and I only speak English. And every time you hear English, I want you to translate it to Italian. And if you hear Italian, I want you to translate it back to English. Is that good?
Perfetto.
Mark, io mi chiedo se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask, how do we solve linear equations?
Potrebbero chiederci come risolviamo le equazioni.
Throughout various episodes, The Simpsons has portrayed Springfield grappling with hurricanes, earthquakes, and apocalyptic disasters. While exaggerated for humor, these scenarios reflect growing concerns about climate change.
The Simpsons show Springfield dealing with hurricanes, earthquakes, and even apocalyptic events, like in the episode Hurricane Nettie.
Currently, humanity is using the equivalent of 1.75 Earths to provide for itself. This means we're living on one planet but consuming the resources of almost 2 planets. We are exploiting resources like we're never going to run out. But more on that later. Coming back to overpopulation. How many humans can this planet sustain? Well, the planet reached its limit 53 years ago. In 1970, there were 3.7 billion people on the planet, less than half the population of today. and just about enough for the planet to sustain. Ever since then, humans are living on what's called an ecological debt. This means our annual demand of resources is way more than what our planet can naturally provide in a year. This is a loan of sorts, and who will repay it? Our children and grandchildren and their grandchildren. That is, if we leave anything on this planet for them to have.
Scientists have repeatedly warned that rising global temperatures are intensifying natural disasters. In recent years, wildfires, hurricanes, and droughts have become more frequent and destructive. Experts suggest that 2025 could mark a turning point, with more extreme weather events impacting vulnerable regions. Could The Simpsons be subtly warning us about the consequences of neglecting environmental sustainability?
And right now here at noon, tracking Milton. The storm strengthening today. It is now a powerful Category 5 hurricane with Florida in its path.
And residents are preparing with Milton expected to make landfall this week in the Tampa Bay area. Watches and warnings have been issued for much of our state's west coast.
This morning, those whipping Santa Ana winds making a return. In the coming days, wind gusts expected to reach up to 70 miles per hour as the Eaton and Palisades fires broaden their footprint. Officials say the death toll has now reached 24 and still expected to climb. We traveled with CAL FIRE to the top of the now charred Temescal Canyon to see how crews are making critical progress as they battle the blaze.
Southern Iceland was rattled today by hundreds of earthquakes, prompting fears of a major volcanic eruption. Nearly 4,000 people were evacuated over the weekend after the ground shook, roads cracked, and buildings were damaged. Officials said today there's a significant likelihood of an eruption in the coming days.
In a future-themed episode, Lisa Simpson lives in a society without cash, relying entirely on digital payments. This scenario is becoming increasingly realistic. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, along with digital payment systems such as Apple Pay and Google Pay, are rapidly gaining popularity. In countries like Sweden, cash transactions are nearly extinct. By 2025, a fully cashless economy could emerge, aligning perfectly with The Simpsons' vision of the future.
What's in right now is digital currency. So, for example, Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin completely lives online. It's sort of what makes it cool, but also what makes it potentially dangerous. Okay, so digital currency can be sent or received without involving any financial institution or government agency whatsoever. Okay, so this is basically an online financial network that's completely open. There's no Visa, no PayPal, no regulators, right? So it lives online, trades online, and hides online. So you're probably asking, okay, well, what about those golden Bitcoins we've all seen? So think of those like a gift card, okay? So it's not actual money, it's just a sort of representation of money, only redeemable where Bitcoins are accepted.
Along with digital wallets like Pix and Apple Pay, is transforming how we handle money. In countries like Sweden, the use of physical money is already minimal. Will we be completely cash-free by 2025? Or will we still face challenges with this transition to digital money, such as the inclusion of people without access to technology?
In a futuristic episode, Lisa Simpson contemplates moving to Mars to seek new opportunities. While it once seemed like pure fantasy, Elon Musk and SpaceX are actively working toward colonizing Mars. Musk has expressed his goal of launching manned missions to Mars as early as the mid-2020s. Although full colonization might still be a distant dream, The Simpsons may have accurately predicted the beginning stages of humanity's expansion into space.
Just like the dead clown promised.
Wow, there's Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, Paul McCartney, Michael Jordan, Michelle Kwan. They must be starting a new civilization on Mars with our best and brightest.
Mars rotates once about every 24 hours.
That's kind of what we do.
And it's tipped on its axis.
Kind of like what we are.
As we are. It has polar ice caps.
So do we.
Terraforming Mars. Here's why everyone's talking about Mars, and Elon Musk has a plan. He's thinking of putting satellites in orbit that have big reflectors that focus sunlight that would otherwise miss the planet, focus it down on the planet, and just add more energy to the planet, heating it up. And if you do it right, you might be able to set a chain reaction in place. If everything there's frozen and it gets warmer, you'll evaporate more carbon dioxide, and that'll help trap more heat, and then that'll make it hotter to evaporate even more carbon dioxide. You get all of that out of the system and into the atmosphere. Then now it's warm enough, you still need oxygen to breathe.
Right.
So now you put microorganisms that eat the CO2 and they
release oxygen.
Like plants do that, but on Earth, there was something called cyanobacteria.
Right.
In the 1995 episode Lisa's Wedding, characters wear virtual reality headsets during a futuristic event. Today, this idea feels more plausible than ever. The COVID-19 pandemic normalized virtual events, and the rise of the Metaverse is pushing the boundaries of digital experiences.
Let's take a look at what working in the Metaverse will be like. Imagine if you could be at the office without the commute. You would still have that sense of presence, shared physical space, those chance interactions that make your day all accessible from anywhere. Now imagine that you have your perfect work setup and you can actually do more than you could in your regular work setup. And on top of all that, you can keep wearing your favorite sweatpants.
Looking good. Let's get together real quick for a debrief.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
In one episode, Lisa designs a solar-powered car but is sabotaged by corporate interests. This satirical take on the energy industry is closer to reality than many realize. Fossil fuel companies have historically lobbied against green energy policies, slowing the transition to renewable sources. Despite advancements in solar, wind, and battery storage technology, green energy adoption faces significant resistance. By 2025, this battle between renewable energy advocates and fossil fuel giants could intensify, making the Simpsons prediction unsettlingly accurate.
Suppression of green energy. In an episode of The Simpsons, Lisa Simpson enters a solar-powered car in a derby, symbolizing the potential and innovation behind renewable energy solutions. However, her project faces deliberate sabotage, reflecting a broader commentary on the real-world challenges that green energy initiatives often encounter due to established fossil fuel interests. The episode effectively illustrates how entrenched business interests, particularly from the fossil fuel industry, can impede the progress of renewable energy technologies. In Lisa's case, her solar-powered car is blocked from receiving sunlight by a strategically placed object, directly sabotaging her efforts in a derby.
A more dystopian prediction suggests that traditional libraries could be phased out and replaced with tech support centers. As digital information continues to dominate and fewer people use physical libraries, this transformation could reflect society's growing reliance on technology. While this change may not be fully realized by 2025, the shift from traditional learning spaces to tech-focused hubs is already underway.
Kind of think more about that impact. What does this have to do with your daily lives and libraries? What does it have to do with the competitiveness of the industry? What options that libraries have when they go out to buy software, as they think about whether or not to hold on to their current systems or to move to new ones. It's important to have a good sense of the competitive landscape. So this slide, looking in the academic space, kind of shows academic libraries and their relative market share. So when you go to my website, there's this graph that you can spin out for any state in the US, for the country altogether, and some other countries that kind of show the relative market shares. And so here we can see kind of the impact of consolidation. So,
time and again, The Simpsons has seemingly predicted future events with uncanny precision. From automation and climate disasters to space exploration and digital economies, the show's insights continue to blur the line between satire and reality.
We're not predicting the future, but if we are, clearly there's some.
The evidence is there.
It's booga booga, clearly, yeah.
We take the most unlikely, ridiculous, stupid, impossible, never will happen joke and then turns out that our imaginations are not that imaginative.
I think that if you have a bunch of people who are smart, who are trying to predict the future, if you throw enough darts hit the dartboard. And most of the things I can just say, Trump actually, for example, was talking about running for president in 1999. He wasn't the most ridiculous celebrity to forecast as a president. And we had a few things like that. And like Lady Gaga, people said, oh, he predicted her Super Bowl show. Well, that's because we copied her show for our show, and then she did that show. So it's sort of like she stole our show that stole her show. You know, that's how it happens.
You know, I guess if you just, every joke you make is what's the worst possible thing that could happen, eventually one of those things is going to come true, and it did.
Whether these predictions are pure coincidence or the result of clever social commentary, The Simpsons remains a cultural phenomenon that keeps us questioning what might come next. As 2025 approaches, only time will tell how many more predictions will come true. So, what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more updates, and hit that bell so you never miss a thing.